I'm a little bit sad to say that this is the last Christmas project of 2024. Of course, we're going to move on to bigger and better things in the year of 2025, but I thought we might as well wrap this year up with some mini scrapbooks. These are perfect for last minute stocking stuffers. If you need one more little item to put in those stockings, make it this. They only take a few minutes to put together. We're going to create the template in Silhouette Studio from start to finish. And the best part is you can let the person receiving the scrapbook do all of the hard work with the photos and the embellishments. I do want to give one quick tip before we get started, and that is to use the repeat job function on your Silhouette machine if you have it available to you. And that's going to make the whole process go so much faster if you're making more than one. These are the pieces that we need to end up with. We are going to go through and design this entire thing from scratch. It is not that intimidating. It's very basic shapes. You just need to get your measurements right. Let's start on a brand new page. And you can design this on a 12 by 12 sheet or letter size. Either one will work. These are mini scrapbooks, so they are going to be small. They are perfect stocking stuffer size. Let's start with a rectangle. We're actually going to need 3 of them. And if we want our scrapbook to measure 4 inches tall by 3 inches wide, we definitely need to set the height to 4 inches. Let's unlock our aspect ratio button here and enter 4. And now we need each page to be 3 inches wide. So we'll need 1 page for the front, 1 page for the back, and that is 6. But we're also going to add an entire inch in the middle for the binding. So the width on this rectangle should be 7 inches. Let's double click, enter 7. Now this one's good to go. Let's duplicate this twice. Now we want this one to be the same height, but a 1/2 inch skinnier. So let's select that, come up here, enter 6.5. And this one is going to be still another 1/2 inch skinnier. Let's enter 6 up at the top. Now this is our outside cover. This page will go right inside that. This will be the middle page, and now we need to work on getting our score line set in place. We're going to grab a line from our drawing tools, hold down our shift key, and pull that straight down. And we want this to be 4 inches tall, just the same as our rectangle. So let's head up here, double click, enter 4, and we are going to need 2 for this one, 2 for this one, and only 1 for this one because we're going to put it right down the middle. So let's duplicate this 4 times. We have a total of 5 lines, all the same size. Now we are going to take and line each one up with these rectangles. We want 1 on each side here. We want the top and the bottom to line up. You can see that since I have my smart snapping on, it lights up in blue when everything is lined up just right. And now for this last one, we are going to take this and we're going to just place it on this bottom square. We can select both pieces and center this one. For these other lines, we do want them to create the binding in the middle, but we want our measurements to be super accurate. Let's select this one. We can head up to our distance here, and we are going to enter 3 inches because we want each page to be 3 inches wide. Now we can just click on the arrow. That's going to move that one right. We can click on this one. We want to keep the distance the same, so let's click on this arrow and move it over to the left. Same goes for here. Now we have a 1 inch binding here. We have a 1/2 inch binding here, and this one just folds straight in the middle. Now let's take all of our rectangles, hold down our shift key and click on each one, right click and group those together. And I like to switch up the color on these to brown because I'm cutting these out of chipboard. You can use a heavy cardstock, that will work too. Now I'm going to set the line color on these to red. I want these to cut out, and I'm going to use my embossing tool to create the score lines. If you do not have an embossing tool, you can select the lines and then change the lines over to a dashed or dotted line. If you are using your embossing tool, you're going to leave them just as they are. In order to select all of those lines at once, though, we want to come up to select by color, and you can see the by line here. We have our red, which is our rectangles that are going to cut out. Then we have our black, which is the score lines that we just created. So let's click on the black and we're going to group those together. And we're going to ungroup all of this in just a second, but I want to get this set up in my send page first. Let's actually head over to the send page and take a look. You can see that everything is lit up in red. That means everything is going to cut. But again, I want the score lines to use tool number 2 to score. Since they're all grouped together, it was easy to select them, set them to blue. Now my outside will cut, my inside will score. We can go back to the design page. Let's select all of this and ungroup it for a minute. Now we can select the top rectangle and the lines, right click and group. Do the same for the middle and the bottom one. And now these pages are all set up and ready to cut. Now we need some more rectangles. Let's grab one from the drawing tools and pull that out. And we're going to send this to the back because we want to set this one right on top here. What we want to do is create a rectangle that is slightly larger than our page because we're going to do a printed sticker page that can cover the outside and the insides of these pages. The ones that are covering the outside of the pages, we want it to be able to wrap around and cover the edges so it's all nice and tidy. I like to have at least a 1/4 inch overlap. You can do more if you'd like, but the main idea is that these edges are covered so you don't have to go crazy with it. Let's adjust the size of this blue rectangle. Select that, and we're going to set this at 7.5 by 4.5. We can select both of these and center. That gives me a nice little border that will wrap around this. I also like to tidy up my corners so there's not a lot of overlap on this side. And we can do this by using our knife tool. Let's select that. You do want to hold down your shift key while doing this. You're going to pull it out at an angle. That will create a perfect 45-degree cut for you. Notice that mine did not cut right away. I do not have the auto apply checked, and that is because once the line is drawn out, I like to adjust it so that it is sitting right at the corner of this rectangle. Let's click on apply now. You can pull that away. We don't need it. Let's right click and delete. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing for each of these corners. We can duplicate this twice. We can bring this rectangle in here, line up the corners here and here. Same thing with this one on this rectangle. Now we do not want to adjust the height on these. We only want to adjust the width, so we can click on it, grab this middle box here and just pull it over until these corners line up as well. And do the same thing for this one. We can move these back over here. Let's zoom out for a minute and set these up over here. The next thing you want to do is bring in a pattern. Going to head up to File and down to Merge. Let's switch this over to large icons so we can see what is available. And I really like this print here. I'm going to double click on that to bring it onto the mat. And this is the pattern that I'm going to use to cover the pages of my scrapbook. Now you can switch it up and add different patterns, or you can go with all of the same pattern. It's totally up to you. Now since I am printing this on letter size paper, I can go ahead and switch my media size to letter. And I like to grab a rectangle and draw that out and set that to 8.5 by 11. Then I center these open up my modify panel and crop, and that way the pattern does not get distorted in any way. I can set that right there on my media. I am printing this on sticker paper, so it is super easy to cover these pages. You don't have to worry about tape or glue or any of that. I'm going to click on print. I have the proper printer selected, and I'm going to open up preferences. I actually like to use premium presentation paper matte with my stickers, and I turn the quality up to high. Now I can click the up arrow and do 3 copies all at once. I'm going to click on OK and print. While my sticker sheets were printing, I went ahead and cut my chipboard. You can see when cutting chipboard, it is a very slow process, but it did eventually finish up the cutting and then moved on to the scoring with the embossing tool. The Cameo 5 does cut out the sticker paper much more quickly, which is a good thing. Now I have cut my shapes out of my printed page here. I have the large page that goes here, the middle page goes here, and you can't see it, but I have one cut out here for the little page. Now I can use the bottom half of this sheet for the inside cover for this page, and then I can use this sheet to cover the inside pages of this one. You're going to want to use a brayer if you have one to get the sticker sheet completely stuck down to your chipboard. We can just peel this right up, turn it upside down, and set our page in the corners just like we designed it. Going to use the brayer to get it all pressed down really well to that chipboard. Now I can flip it back over and just adhere these sides, wrap them around so the edges are nice and tidy. Let's repeat that process with the other 2 pages. Now we have one side of each page covered completely. We want to take the smallest insert and use the rest of this page to cover the inside of this. Let's peel this up and flip it over like that. We're just going to stick this page right down on there. Grab an X-Acto knife and just trim close to the edges all the way around. Now we have that side, we have that side, and we can just find our score line. Give that a nice fold. This is the very inside page of our little scrapbook. I'm going to finish up the other 2 pages the same way. This page sets in the middle of this page, and this page is going to go right in the middle of this page. I'm going to run a bead of hot glue right down this binding here. Just going to press it right in the middle of this one. Do the same for this. We can finish it off with a little bow. Of course, you can go on and cut out little embellishments, little Christmas tree ornaments or Christmas trees. You can cut presents out of cardstock. You can even cut little frames for the photos to go in, envelopes for little notes, you name it. You can customize this little thing any way you like, or you could just put it in the stocking with the cutout embellishments and let the person receiving the scrapbook decide how they want to decorate it. Now I do have to run because I have about 10 more of these little things to make. I do hope you're going to create something amazing, and I will see you in the next video.